All right, this is the Whitman Finance Committee meeting. It is the 11th of February. It just feels like it's been a week. All right. We have in attendance, we have our committee chair, Kathleen Ortina, is on the phone with us. This is Mike Warner in the room. We have Chuck Colby, Jason Hunter, Mike Flanagan present. So we will see what else. We do have a quorum, so we're actually okay for that. Reserve fund has still not been touched and is therefore still at the $35,000 that we have listed. We do have two sets of minutes to go through this evening, and tonight we have several groups that will be coming in to talk to us about their budgets for the fiscal year 26. So, Kathleen, anything you want to address with the committee before we get into minutes? We'll do those, I think, pretty quick.
Well, I can do a quick subcommittee rundown for you if you want
Sure.
to do that, deal with that. So the Capital Committee is scheduled to meet next Thursday morning, February 20th at 8 a.m. I'm not sure that a quorum has agreed to meet at that hour of the day, but that's the schedule. Middle School Building Committee meets on Thursday, February 13th at 4:30 p.m. The big order of business that night is to award the bid to the general contractor, and I will be attending that. I'm actually going to try to do it in person, but I will definitely be there one way or the other. Okay. The Regional Agreement Committee meets on February 26th at 5:30 p.m., and I will do that. I will phone in for that one. And then the Whitman-Hanson Regional School District audit was presented to the Select Board on February 4th, and I did watch that presentation and saw Justin and Sean in particular did, I'll use the word pepper David King, the representative, with questions about the audit. So I did not find it particularly informative. It's not going to give us a roadmap to anywhere. It just pretty much said the Whitman-Hanson is not overspending relative to 5 of its peer regional school districts. So there was nothing earth-shaking in that report. But at least you can check off the box that it's done. Yeah. And then I think Rick will probably be weighing in on the DPW later because I think they have a meeting tomorrow.
Correct.
Okay. So those are the subcommittee reports.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right. With that, then let's take a look. We have the 21st of January minutes are on the papers that Elizabeth has shared already. Please do take a quick look. We're looking for any changes, edits, amendments to the minutes, and if not, I'd entertain a motion to accept as read.
So moved. I'll second, but I just will note, I don't know if everybody saw, Kathleen, you had an amendment I saw come through on email. Is that correct?
I think it was for the 28th. Chuck.
Oh, the 28th, not the 21st. Okay.
Oh, you know what? You're right. It is the Board of Health. Yes, thank you. It is the Board of Health.
So.
And yes, I did email Elizabeth earlier today asking that the minutes be amended to include at the end of the paragraph dealing with the Board of Health, the sentence expenses and household hazard waste was the biggest monetary concern, as the variable costs are out of the departmental control. What I would like to see added is Ms. Otina asked the Board of Health what specifically they were looking for at the May 2024 town meeting to, as I remember, Danielle Clancy got up at town meeting and asked for money to be restored. And the answer from Danielle was that it was to restore $2,000 to the public nurse line item. So that additional, I think tuberculosis and other health related issues could be dealt with. So I gave the wording to Elizabeth. That's sort of the gist of it.
Yeah, and she did reply that that will be the first amendment, so I just want to make sure everybody was aware of that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right, so I'll second that motion on accepting as amended.
Okay. Being done as it is, everyone here present tonight was at the meeting, so again, because Kathleen is on the phone, I'll just run around. Kathleen, do you accept?
Yes.
Okay, I will
Yes, I do.
accept. Chuck?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jason? It's like the
Wait
first.
for you to get it yourself.
It's the first time. It's the first time. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my God! I'm going to keep doing it forever now. Even when I have it cemented in my head, Jason. Jeez. Okay, that has been accepted. Let's take a look at the 28th. Same process, please.
These look good to me.
Yep. Hey, Elizabeth.
Oh, hi, Elizabeth. Elizabeth just got here, Kathleen.
Okay.
Which one did we end up using? Okay.
Old Faithful.
Gonna have to,
Okay.
all right, I hope there's enough room on it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, they look good to me. I don't nothing on my end.
Yeah.
It's an empty box.
Right.
Make a motion, Mike.
Okay. We have a second.
And seconded.
Okay.
Jason did.
Very good then. All in favor? Let's see. I'm looking for Kathleen,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
and I will be a yes. Mike, you were
Abstain.
not there. Thank you. Exactly. So 4 yes, 1 abstain. That has been accepted. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Yeah, you want to start off? Go. Yeah. Thank you, Mary Beth. Just so everyone knows, there was a note in there. I did talk with Josh, and I'm back on email.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Nice to meet everyone. Hi again. Hi. We probably saw each other. Hi.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Chuck Colby.
Hi, Chuck.
Jason Hunter.
Jason.
Mike Flanagan.
Hi, Mike. Nice to meet you all.
We have Kathleen
And is
on the
that-
phone.
Oh, hi, Kathleen.
Hi, is that Mary Holland?
No, it's Wendy Kavicki.
Wendy Kavicki, sorry.
That's okay.
I have not met you yet, Wendy, but I'm looking forward to it.
Same.
Yeah, have a
Okay.
seat. Relax.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Do you want to do these? Oh, I would love one, please. Thank you very much.
All righty. So fairly simple process, right?
Yeah. Probably one of the easiest, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, it's I think it's a good process. We just kind of make sure that there's a little check and balance in the system.
Sure.
So please, by all means, go ahead, kick us off.
Yeah. Well, so basically, I'm new to the role. I just started in January, so this is all a little bit foreign to me. But obviously, this is pretty straightforward. It's just 2 salaries and a small expense line item.
Okay. And again, understanding it's short knowledge space. Anything that you see that there's challenge with this based upon what you've got your head around so far?
Nothing. Next year might be a different conversation, but no, I'm pretty sure it's straightforward. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask Mary Beth, anything that you might want to add? You've been here a little longer.
Sure, no. So with the budget, we just did the 2.5 on the salary, and on Paula's line, that calculation for the assistant accountant includes a step raise without anything above that, just a step and no 2%, 2.5% until the unions decide. And then just the expense, and that we just level funded.
Yep.
Maybe a cell phone down the road if Wendy needs one. We did have that in there 1 year, but
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Michael, I have one question. So is Wendy as a new hire, full-time hire?
Correct.
Yes.
All right, somebody at the role. All right, great, thank you.
Yeah.
One thing I might want to add is the salary line at which Wendy came in at, there's money in there that is still, some of that is being paid to John Adams as he was the interim and now he is a consultant. So next year we thought that Wendy would start July 1st, possibly, just on her own, but we may want to, I may put an article in for John to remain on just a few more months so that it goes through a cycle where he's here while she closes the books through September
yeah.
30th.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to right the ship up here and downstairs and make some changes and get everything going. And then after that, Wendy is going to school in March. She's already signed up for her accounting first set of classes, so.
Yeah, the building's kind of leaning, so we got to get back.
Yeah.
Keep coming up here. I feel like I'm in an old rerun of Batman or something. Well, good, yes, welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Welcome.
you. It's good to be here.
Jason, Mike, anything that you've got? Kathleen?
The only comment I want to make is really directed to Mary Beth as well as to Wendy. I'm really pleased to see that some decisions are being made to provide the town with sound financial advice and people who will be able to get the job done without us second guessing, are these really the numbers we have to deal with? So welcome, Wendy, and thank you, Mary Beth, for making this happen.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Okay, if there's nothing else, nothing thrown at you.
Nope.
All right.
Great.
Look at that, see?
Nice to meet everybody.
Okay. Good night.
Wendy and Mary Holland, nice to meet you. I'm over at the Council on Aging.
Yes.
The little building.
All right.
I'm next.
Sure,
Josh.
come on.
Hello.
Hello, Mary.
How are you?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
We have Kathleen on the line.
Hi, Kathleen. I thought they were
Hi.
losing their mind when they asked how you were going to have any opinion there because I didn't see you in the room.
Oh, well, we have ESP connections here, Mary.
I was like, somebody's lost it because Kathleen's not sitting here.
No.
So I think we've met before on Mike Warner.
Right, and it's funny because I said over the email, I think I said nice to meet you, but now that I see you, I have met you before.
It's faces and names.
Yeah, we're doing it. Chuck Colby.
Yeah.
I'm Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Mike Flanagan.
Hi, Mike.
And
Mary
Elizabeth.
Holland.
Yeah. Of course, we have Elizabeth, our recording
Hi, Elizabeth.
extraordinaire.
I did just come back from Aruba.
Oh, why did you come back?
Unfortunately, there's a need.
All righty.
Alrighty.
Well, tell us about the Council on Aging.
We're fabulous. I love my job. I do. Love my job. Love what I'm doing. Having a good time. We had Make a New Friend Day lunch today with shrimp scampi.
Nice.
Doesn't that sound fun?
It does.
Sorry, everyone. Everybody else is like, well, I'm not having fun. Yeah, no, we have a good time. I mean, obviously, we do a lot of things, but a lot of positives. It's a good, happy place. Kind place. I don't know.
Yeah, is this your third year now? Third, final tax line?
Four. I started in 2020, July of 2020,
Okay.
so
Yeah, see.
over 4 years.
Yeah.
Someone encouraged me to go.
Yeah.
But I love it. I do. I love what I do. So,
Excellent.
not a lot of
You
complaints.
do a great job,
Well,
Mary.
thank you. With jokes, that's what everyone comes for is my jokes.
Yeah.
I tell jokes over there. What was one of the I had to do shrimp jokes today? What was my first joke? I can't remember them because I write them all down. Oh gosh, I can't remember them. I'm sorry. The punchline was shellfish, but I can't remember the joke first part. Anyhow,
Sounds
that's
like a
not why
middle
we're here.
school joke.
Yeah, no, everybody loves my jokes. I tell you.
Yeah. Good.
All righty. How about looking forward into 26, budget-wise?
I'm good. I did everything at 2.5 on all the salaries. I assume, do you guys have a line? You have the lines? I have myself, the administrative assistant. I have 2 drivers, 2 part-time clericals, and an outreach. That basically everyone's part-time besides me and Melissa, who are the main people. And then I have an expense line.
Okay, and the expense line is
It's going to be adjusting, I think. I don't. Do I get into what went on like that? The 4,000. So it's at 18.5. It used to be 14.5. It was at 18.5 last year because some money was moved in for custodial for cleaning our building.
Yep.
But that money's going back, as far as I understand,
Facilities.
to facilities. And then I know there was talk about whether or not it's happening or not. If facilities is going to take over the utilities and the building
Yeah, I know that.
stuff. So if that, I don't know if that's all a definitive, but I've heard that, which,
Yeah.
so that would obviously adjust my expense line, because that's paid out of the expense line.
Right.
Okay.
But besides that, everything else is just salaries.
Okay.
And we're good? We're doing good?
I think we're doing good. And I think if I could ask you a quick question, Mary.
Yep.
I know that Todd has presented the capital items for fiscal 26 at the capital committee meeting.
Yep.
And one of the items has to do with the Council on Aging.
Yep.
Is it the porch?
Yeah, trying to extend it. As you know, the constant struggle over there is we have not enough space. Not enough space in the building, not enough space out of the building, just not enough space. So the idea is to extend out so that in the nicer weather, because right now the way that porch is, we have some chairs, but with the chairs there, you can kind of just squeak by walking.
Right.
So if we had more space, the idea would be hopefully is maybe even utilize the front porch in the nicer weather. People play cribbage, they do different things, whatever, that they could be out on that front porch using that in the nicer weather and not always in the building.
Yep.
We could even possibly have lunch out there too.
Yeah, is there room to extend further?
I don't know, Todd was supposed to be
Yeah.
looking into all that as far as, because there is green and then there's sidewalk and then the road. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
if that can be extended to the sidewalk or not. I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably. No, there's probably some kind of setback or something. But is it a covered porch right now?
It is. It is.
So you'd be looking to extend the roof as well as the porch.
Be able to, yes, to have some more
Okay.
usable space. I don't know anybody who's ever been in the building, but literally we spend part of our days is we get exercise. We put up tables and we put down chairs and we move things and we shut things and we put them up and we take them down and we do it all over again every single day. Is all I can tell you. Like literally today I was like, what do we have tomorrow? Because we just set up today for we had the luncheon, but I'm like, tomorrow we have the craft, we have a movie, so we have to...
Constantly.
Yeah, it's basically one room with a couple dividers. But in
Yeah, I've
order...
been over there. It's been a while since I've been
Yeah.
there, but yeah.
It's difficult. I mean, I know it's
always
never
been
happening
cramped.
anytime soon because of everything, but it would be lovely to have a building that has actually some rooms to be able to have a separate room for exercise, a separate room for like the crafts and the arts and stuff like that we do, because again, it's a constant shuffle.
Yeah.
Chair yoga on Tuesdays. If anybody comes by, there's again outside. There's no parking. Inside, there's no room. The 2 rooms are full. We've got the doors to partition them off, but then when everybody's out in the other room having a grand time playing their cards, the people that are trying to be very zen in their chair yoga, it doesn't always mix. Sometimes we have to ask them to be a little quieter, which again, they're doing their games and they're like, well, why do we have to be quiet, So,
Yeah. How's the attendance this past year? Have you increased?
Yeah, every year.
obviously,
I
our
should-
age, the population's
yeah,
aging.
I should have brought those kind of numbers, I guess. But yeah, every year we go up. Like I could print those numbers at some point to show you, but we constantly are moving in an upward direction.
Yeah.
And new people come in, and it's a variety. I say all the time. It's kind of like we have 3 tiers. We have young seniors,
Young.
middle seniors, and older seniors. The middle seniors are probably the ones that are most in the building. The younger seniors are the ones probably most utilizing Jill Getchell, who's in charge of our Shine and our health. When you're retiring, you're going on Medicare, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Jill helps everybody through all those things. And then our older seniors as well. It's a mix of all of us, but the older seniors are more the housebound. That might not always get into the building. So we're constantly dealing with, whether they need services outside, in their houses, all different things. It's a constant. I don't know. I say all the time, my husband will be like, what does your day look like? I'm like, what's on my schedule or what's coming through my door? Because you just don't know what you're going to get any single day. And every day is different, which is good. It makes it a fun place to be, but it can be a lot going on at all different times.
Yeah, it sure would be nice if we had a bigger location.
Well, and even the other thing that surprises me a lot is the amount of adult children we deal with, because the adult children that are now taking care of their senior parents.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a lot of adult children that come to us for help. sometimes, honestly, sometimes it's just sitting and talking with them because they're feeling so alone and isolated in dealing with everything that just coming and sitting and talking to someone and hearing that they're not alone and they're not the only one going through this and there are services to help them
Yeah,
takes a lot off their shoulders.
yeah, that would be helpful.
So it's again, unless you came and sat all the time, but it's just amazing what's coming through the door on the regular.
Good.
So
How many people showed up for the lunch?
we had 42 in the building that we accommodated, and we probably had about 15 on the wait list.
Wow.
We just don't have enough space and manpower always to do it too. Like, we have what we have for staff, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes people are like, oh, you could get more people. But again, due to size, the more people we have trying to get in and out of our kitchen isn't always better. You know what I mean? Then we're all stepping on each other trying to get out to serve the people. So, but yeah, I'd say top number we can fit in the building is probably about 50. Comfortably, but that's putting everybody even into that front room, which kind of separates you from everybody else. We try to keep it so everyone's together because part of it is the socialization,
Right.
Yep.
And if you're now cut off in another room, you're not even feeling part of what's going on in the other room. So, but yeah, it's not, again, if you're ever in the building, it's not massive, it's not huge, and it's a lot of shuffling.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
I've been there a while.
It's a lot of shuffling is all I can say is to make everything work when we have everybody there. And again, in the building is one thing. Now you got them coming, where do they park?
Right.
Mobility is an issue for people.
Right.
So trying to get in the, we park like today I park along the side of the town hall over, I don't know where we are, over on this side or that side, just to stay out of the way because trying to give all the spaces around that they can get into the building.
Yeah.
And even the handicap ramp, I didn't design it, but it's in the back of the building. So somebody with mobility issues who now has to park out here has to get all the way to the back of the building, up the ramp, and all the way back into the building. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not. It's ADA compliant. It's just not the best layout.
Right. But if you were putting that porch extension,
If we
you
could
put
have
on
a
the front
ramp
as well.
to be able to get in easier from the front would be fabulous.
Okay.
So
Do you think we lose people to Abington a lot to that? To the other? Do you?
I think it's people. I hate to say it, they shop around.
Yeah.
They go with where they like in that. I've been to Abington. They have a huge, because it's an old church. It's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think they have the opposite issue. It's too big.
Oh,
Like they have a room that has like a stage and everything. I mean, it seems great, but I think sometimes they have the opposite where it's such a big building.
Might
like
almost feel small, like with people in it. You're like,
Yeah.
We went over there for they had a party, they invited us over, so we went over just to check it out. Their storage space is like our whole building. I'm like, oh. I came back and I was like, boy, do I have building envy. I'm never going there again. But yeah, I think it's different. Like, I think part of the reason people like it so much here is they like that it feels more home-like.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And we try very hard to remember everyone's name, so I think that's important. You know what I mean? They don't feel like they're just a person, they feel like they're part of things.
Yeah.
So, anyhow. This isn't really budgety, I'm sorry.
Well, it is. It's the, part of the budgeting is also trying to get a feel, at least for me, it's get a feel of what's the value.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
what's it bring and
Yeah, the type of services.
I
for the
think there's a
taxpayers.
lot of, like I said, between the social, between the need for services, between the help for insurance, housing. I mean, we don't do the housing, but we help a lot of people with their housing. There's a huge need, and the numbers, I'm sure, are just going up. There's more people getting older.
Yeah.
And again, the adult children really is surprising to me because, again, a lot of them come because they need a lot of help because they don't know what to do. I think this generation is the first generation that has this situation of having kids and parents and trying to juggle it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people's parents used to, I hate to say it, people used to pass younger. Now you've got people living a lot longer, and there's this generation that's stuck in the middle trying to juggle everything.
interesting. It's have you given any thought to the new change that allows for multi-family existence in a single home, where you can have either part of the house or a separate, but on the same plot? Have you had any thought about whether that's going to potentially bring more people in to your service?
I mean, if people do it, you know what I mean? Like, that's the question. Like, it's a great idea. I think they would have their own thing. I think when you get into people living in the same house, it's difficult. If they have their own space, potentially.
Yeah.
But sometimes I find that it's not all that it's cracked up to be when people are trying to bring their seniors into the house. A lot of times there's...
But that we,
They'd have their
I
own...
grew up with that.
Yeah,
You know, it's
they'd have their own
My
space.
grandmother was tiny
Yep.
and she lived in the garage that had
Yep.
been converted to a home.
Yep.
But there was 2 doors
Yeah.
between them, right? But I would think that even those questions might be things people might, again, the adults you're talking about would say, hey, we're considering this.
Yep.
Now there's a couple of options for us.
Yep, to be able
So,
to move
yeah, I didn't
them
know if
onto
you'd
the
seen or-
property.
yeah.
Nobody's asked me about it or said anything, but it's a possibility.
Yeah,
You know?
it could add to the
Mm-hmm.
population because we have one on my street. There was they built like an in-law just
Yeah.
attached.
If
So
mom
that-
or dad gets rid of their
Dad
house and
came
then
in,
they
yeah.
build, it is
So
possible.
they came in from another town. They're from Braintree, but now they're here as Whitman residents.
Right.
You know, they could.
If they're bringing mom or dad in, I think that, it's a possibility. Sometimes what we see a lot of is, though, is mom or dad are here and the kids are way away and there's no one local to help, which is hard. And mom and dad don't always want to go, unfortunately.
Right.
You know, they want to stay in their own comfort of where they're comfortable. Or we have people some people have left town for different reasons, probably, but then they'll still come back here because this is home to them.
They have friends and things here.
This is where they're comfortable coming.
Fine. Okay. Any other questions or comments? I think so, Mary Beth?
I'd just like to say, Mary, I know that you mentioned Santander Bank at one
Oh,
point.
yes.
So I did send a letter off to Santander Bank recently, just saying that, they're trying to sell that property.
Right.
Would they even think of donating it to the town? We could even put their Santander in the name
Yep.
somehow. And I spoke with somebody very close that is a CFO of a bank, and all the local banks have to invest in their community. Not that it will go anywhere, but I recently reached out. We'll see.
Yeah, I had said that a while back because I was like, that's a bigger space, and it's still. It's key is being around because what also happens is on Mondays and Tuesdays we have the bus goes around town. Seniors
Right, yep, yep.
utilize that
Yeah.
bus, but they'll do stuff uptown and then they'll come to the center and then they'll get picked up at the center to go back home. So having it here local allows them to go to the businesses, go to the bank, go to whatever, and then come to the center when they're done.
Yep.
Yeah,
They should.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
yeah.
yeah.
Worth a shot.
It's been empty for
Yeah,
couple
well, somebody
years.
had said
yes.
that it was sold way back. I had mentioned it back when it first, and somebody was like, "Oh, they've already sold it." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
No, I don't believe
Yeah.
they have. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But they do need
It would
to
be-
invest in their communities. And in Taunton, a bank moved and they donated to the town, and they put the name of the bank, merchants or whatever,
Yep.
municipal building or whatever.
Yep.
Hey, they love that,
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
and like I said, it would still be right here, which is fabulous.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Never
Yeah.
hurts to
we
ask,
can
right?
start a conversation.
it's so funny because I say to my
Right.
seniors all the time, I said either we're gonna hit the lottery or we need a rich benefactor. Those are the two things we need.
Now, that
I've
would
told
be,
them that-
that would be pretty nice.
when the lottery is really high, I always say, if I win, I said, we're going to buy out the neighbors. We're going to put an indoor heated pool for water aerobics. We dream big.
All right.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night, Mary.
Good to see you.
Have a good night.
I'm all about the fun. You guys are all serious, but I like to have the fun.
Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty. Josh, you ready?
Good.
We have Josh from IT here. Don't know if everybody's met each other, so let's just do a quick introduction. Well, we know each other, Mike Warner. You know Kathleen, she's on the line with us.
Hey, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Jason.
Jason, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Mike Flanagan.
Mike, nice to meet you. So I don't know if you received my email late in the day. Unfortunately, I've been by.
did not today,
Unfortunately,
no.
Steve's been out sick for since Friday. He's got the flu.
Oh, boy.
So I've been, trying to man the station, if you will, and trying to get everything situated. And I had to deal with architect today for the DPW building. So it's been fun. And I didn't have an opportunity last week to get you what you were looking for in relation to the budget, but we did have a discussion on Monday, which was good. So I do have some handouts to pass out to you, in relation to the budget. one big discussion that we did have was the new request for another one.
We got
All right,
it.
perfect. Yep, sure. You're welcome. So first of all, I want to thank you for your support last year. Certainly adding or at least updating the salary for the existing position for Steve's. The technology specialist position was tremendous help because I don't think many people realize the technology department was one person, meaning myself, for 10 years. And I honestly don't know how I did it for the 10 years, but it was done. And adding that second person has certainly helped a lot, but I think we're still, realizing the fact that the calls, the demands are still much above the, staffing that we have to be able to handle the volume. The town of Whitman has matured many years versus some of these other communities who didn't even have an IT director, 2-3 years ago, are now finally getting to the point where Whitman was 10, 12 years ago. And I think we can all realize that the, security these days in relation to cybersecurity and all the, incidents that are happening on a daily basis, the one big void that many of these organizations are missing and not, capturing is the fact that half of this, situations that are occurring are, conducive of the education part of the user's perspective. The education's not there, and we've been doing security awareness training now for probably about 6 years. Some communities started just 3 years ago, but we've been doing this and trying to educate, the end user in relation to the common themes and the tactics and the red flags and so on and so forth. And it's all well and good to be able to, have your users do the training. We don't require that. And unfortunately, it should be a requirement. And I'm working with, Mary Beth and hopefully the select board in making that a requirement because, again, it's part of the whole process in trying to protect the organization. And, we have a multi-layered approach that I won't dive into deeply here because the meetings are being recorded now. And, of course, we do have folks on the outside that may, use this as a malicious act. But, we're doing what we can in the multi-layered approach and try and prevent any of this bad stuff from happening. But what we can't do is sort of, again, control the end users to the point of if they are not required to take that training, then it's just sort of another stumbling block we have in front of us. So by doing that, it extends our hopes that, they are going to take the training because there are some municipalities that are shutting off access and you don't have an email account, you don't have a network account. So how can you do your job? You can't. So at the end of the day, you have to do the training. And I'm sure you've seen it, I do periodically send messages out when there are significant events outside so that everyone's aware of the situation. I'm sure you see it on the news. Some people may not, but I just want to get the information out there. A cybersecurity specialist individual would be directly responsible for that, and the fact that focusing on making sure the users are completing their training, answering any questions, providing feedback and assistance in relation to organizational security, and making sure that our efforts to educate the end user is being done. And unfortunately, as much as folks want to think that we can do everything, we can't. These days, it's a lot more sophisticated than it was 10 years ago. So if I told you I could do everything, I'd be lying because it's nearly impossible. So, and I did, I think we did try to, take a stab at recommendations on regionalizing with the town of Hanson, because the town of Hanson was in a situation where they did not have. They ended up calling us in April and asking for some assistance to assist them with a transition of their former IT director. So the select board here approved it, and we, again, not having the time to do what we do, but we obviously lent a hand to the municipality next door to assist them in the situation they were in, and in hopes that, it would make sense to try and collaborate more closely and save costs by regionalizing services together. But the town of Whitman initially did not want to move forward with that. So,
Hanson.
I'm sorry?
Was it a town of Whitman or a town of Hanson? Did not.
The town of Whitman did not want to move forward with that initially, again, we can't control, of course, how people feel or what the end result is. All we can try to do is make the appropriate recommendation and educate the individuals that are part of the decision-making process. And I think, again, the position that was requested here in relation to cybersecurity is listed at $80,000. There were probably, I'd say, a handful of communities that have done the same and requested new position in relation to cybersecurity. And I think I believe, I don't have specific names at this moment in time, but the member communities that have requested the position has been successful in obtaining them. And again, I realize the budget situation and circumstances that we're under. I think that we have to really take a hard look at a lot of the things that we do, of course, and seeing how we can save the money in some areas to assist in other areas, which I've been saying for a number of years, as you know. And you look at some of these instances that are happening on the outside. And it's a hard learning curve for some of these municipalities or organizations. The fact that they had a choice to educate their end users. They had a choice to hire a cybersecurity specialist to try and prevent this stuff from happening. And now it happened, and then what? Now they're forced to have to pay millions of dollars in ransom and in order to get their data back. And where does that leave you now? You could have spent a small amount of money here to prevent it, but unfortunately, and again, you may or may not have the money. Certainly, again, we're all in different sort of situations. So I completely understand the demands in relation to the scale. I mean, you have your scale and you have to offer the services and you have that risk. Unfortunately, we just have to make informed decisions in relation to what we're dealing with. So that is the first part, and I'll be happy to answer any particular questions in relation to that.
I'm curious on the regulatory compliance training. I'm used to seeing it. I ran it actually for a private company, a few years ago. It's not just cybersecurity; it's other things, right? So there's DEI compliance. There's others. It depends, on where you live and that sort of thing. Would that also be underneath this potential role, that they would be responsible for all compliance training for the town?
That's a good question, and something I think I'd have to refer to Mary Beth or the select board on that. But the program that we currently have now, we paid for initially, 5-7 years ago, I want to say we started paying for it, a few $1,000s per year until the state realized that they had to do something. And I think now this is our second year, I want to say, in the state grant program. So the state's been picking up the cost in a grant that we have to reapply for every year, but it's, again, accepted and approved. So we just have to make sure that we're applying for it and taking advantage of the opportunity. But initially their, program is straight focused on cybersecurity. Now, the program that we did have, we started with, several years ago, does have modules for other areas, sexual harassment, for instance, and other, specific areas. Again, those are add-ons, if you will. So it's up to the organization as to whether they, or not they want to offer that, material. And again, if the consensus is there that it would make sense to do that and hold the accountability there for all the staff, and I think that would be beneficial to do it across the board. That way, it's being done and accounted for.
I mean, it's interesting. Again, from a private perspective, that's normally done by Human Resources Department or People Department, because I don't expect a cybersecurity expert to be completely up on, as you said, sexual harassment training. In the what's the status and everything else. But it's probably worth a larger conversation, as you said, with Mary Beth and the select board, because I know the cybersecurity we understand that concept, right? The ransomware and things like that are rampant in the world today. I think everybody sees enough of that, but the fines that the town could come in from not complying with those non-technical are pretty massive.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
okay.
I have a question, just to get caught up. So, as you discuss this and fill us in here, Josh, are we, and I see the numbers here, are we looking to add somebody in this role to make it a department of 3 now?
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
All right.
Yep. And again, I think by far, I think we're starting to see that increase across the board in relation to the other towns. There have been second positions that were added where there was only a first for several years.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was 10 years for Whitman, where it's only been probably 3 or 4 for some of these other communities. Because again, as things ramp up in relation to cyber, it's unfortunately that these communities realize they have to, take action, and that's exactly, what Hanson is actually doing. Because Hanson put had a part-time person initially, I think, as a second person, and now they're, that is now a full-time position.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they're funding it, I believe, at their, planning to try and fund it at their Maytown meeting. So,
Right. Yeah, I mean, we all see it on the news, and we know what happened here. What was it, 2 years ago at the schools?
yes, yeah, exactly, and that was a a very significant event, and then it happened shortly thereafter, I think, at Bridgewater Raynham. So it's
Yeah, it's definitely an area that has to be watched, and
absolutely,
Yeah.
and I think
All right.
unfortunately it's just a focus thing where. Again, we're trying to, and I don't want to, again, throw this out there, but, I think looking back at it and talking to Todd, the facilities manager now, I think we're 2 departments that hit every department across the town, and, are probably 2 of the only departments that don't have an administrative assistant, to be honest with you. So, and it's one of those things where, I mean, not for nothing, but, to putting, these documents and all these budgeting things that could, easily have been, assisted with from, someone
right.
from
No,
the
yeah,
clerical
that's
side
a
to
good
be able
point
to
too,
put
yeah.
that together. And
Yeah.
we talked about that and how can we make it work by maybe we split a person and they work part-time for tech and part-time for facilities, or we merge the 2 and make it just, again, there's a
Yeah.
phenomenon here we can talk
Right,
about.
and yeah, like you said, you guys do. You guys touch everybody, every building. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then one of the big things I think Mike and I had talked about was the fact that looking over a lot of the budgets in relation to the overall increase, I think it's a little different looking at it from a pie, if you will, in relation to technology. Again, touches every department. So this isn't like a 10 or 15 or 20% increase for technology per se.
Yeah, it's
Whereas it would be 10 or 15% for police or fire or whatever it
Right.
might be.
yeah,
We're looking at and supporting every
you guys,
department.
yeah.
So it's,
yeah.
I think we have to look at it a little bit differently in that approach,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
I have some questions.
Sure.
Going over the line items here. 5-year leases on the copiers. How come we're leasing them? Can we buy them? What's the?
Yeah, so if you, I think I was just focused on that person. I just want to go in order, so make it
Okay.
easier,
Yeah,
if that's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
That way we don't have to go
Okay.
back and forth and around, but
Yeah.
I'll hit your question for sure. Any other questions on the personnel?
Nope. I'm good.
I guess my biggest question is, you put in the role for cybersecurity person. I believe it was, there was a salary adjusted to that, right? That you're kind of earmarked for that.
Yes. Yep.
I'm not sure you're going to find somebody for that salary. Knowing how much in demand that particular role is today, and I'm concerned if we put that in, if we approve that, we're not going to come back later and say, hey, I can't find somebody for X amount of dollars. I need another X plus. The answer would be no at that point. So I think when you make that piece, Josh, be absolutely sure. Or you can also go the other route, which is you hire somebody with a little less experience, but you're going to be adding to that, and then again through the professional development, growing it.
No, great point. And again, we could go on here for a couple hours tonight talking about this, but I'll hit on one point to your point here, and the fact that I worked with Bridgewater State College along with a few other IT directors several years ago in collaboration with Plymouth County to assist the college in creating the new cyber security center they have today and the curriculum behind it, so they could get the program together, and they have students now in that program. So that program was sort of put together in hopes that, we'll be able to do what I'm exactly trying to do and attract the folks that are coming out of that program that have learned the initial general, education to start a role in career in cybersecurity. So it's sort of like a roadmap, if you will, and.
Yeah, I work with a place out in Springfield that does the same thing. So you're looking for somebody this is maybe their first actual role, or early career stage. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to. Again, the cyber is going to again cost you more than $150,000 a year if you're going to get the real deal, if you will. But I mean, another body to assist in relation to what our tasks are at hand, I think, is certainly and strictly focused more on the cyber than anything else.
I thank you for that. That makes me feel much more at ease. I completely agree with the way that you're approaching it. So
sure,
good,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's.
So the second step here, professional development. So I think I already hit on one part of that, which was the cyber awareness training we were paying previously, several $1,000s. The state came in and finally put a program together to offer that to the communities. Initially, they had offered, the program, which was why we didn't take advantage of it, sooner, because they had a program that wasn't really user friendly, and many municipalities were not signing up for it. So it didn't make sense for us to go switch to something that wasn't going to work for us. But the one thing I'm going to highlight again, and I highlighted last year, and I think in the years past, is that in our opinion, and based upon the interaction we have with all the departments in the town, there's a severe lack of professional development when it comes to the computer. From the public safety standpoint, from the police and the fire, they have their own requirements in relation to state codes and all that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm talking. I'm talking directly in relation to the software. For example, when you bring a new town accountant in, when you bring a new town clerk in, those folks are assumed to have no knowledge on the inner operings of the workings of the software that they're going to use, but they may or may not. And not knowing, number one, how to use the software, it could be a real problem. I mean, some of these issues in relation to data being compromised, or someone doing something the wrong way, or not know how to do what they need to do, is kind of a big issue. And I think go back several years ago, my recommendation to have an amount put into the budget for specific professional development was sort of brushed off, if you will, in relation to the selectmen's budget has an education line. Mm-hmm. And at that point, the education line I'm talking about is $7,000. $7,000? I mean, for an education to educate all of our employees, how's that possible? I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, $7,000 isn't going to go too long. I mean, technology education or education in general is going to cost you a lot more than $7,000 to educate the workforce. So, from our perspective now, to get back to technology and specifically, any type of professional development that we want to do is basically, going to cost you anywhere between $1,000 or $2,000 per class. It's not cheap. So, I mean, at this point here, the $4,000 that I'm looking to devote to that is essentially $2,000 right now per person, considering there's only two of us, which I think is fair. And again, I'm happy to answer questions or take recommendations, but we're not dedicating enough money to education, and it needs to change, or we're going to have more issues to deal with. So.
Mike, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Some of these questions, like specifically the education, are they referencing the handouts that Josh gave out?
Well, we have an overview of the handout, but and it may be in, because I forwarded what you sent me, Josh.
Yes.
I forwarded that to Kathleen as well.
Well, I actually included Kathleen on the email, so I sent it to both you and Kathleen, so she should have it. Yeah.
Okay.
So where should I be looking, Josh?
Professional development, second line.
Nope, don't see it. I'm looking at...
Well, there's a bunch of documents that were on that email, so...
Oh, I know. No, I've looked at all of them to the best...
It should be the Town of Whitman Technology Services FY26. Should be the budget lines all going down. Top of personnel up top.
Yep.
Professional development. You see the line, FY26, 4,000?
The honest answer is nope. I could pretend to and say yep, but I don't. But I have so many emails. I have 8 attachments to the email I received from you today, and it's
Yep.
not one of those.
It should be.
One of those?
Yep.
Okay. FY26 request.
You got, that's it.
That's it. Let's see what I got. Oh, okay. I am with you now.
All right, does that make more sense?
I had a spreadsheet that you had sent
Yeah.
that I was working from. Okay.
I could give you 27 and 30 documents if you wanted, but I mean, I try to, limit the ability to.
No, I'm with you now. I see where the professional development $4,000 is, so that helps me get a better sense of what this discussion is focusing on. Thank you.
Perfect.
So those would just be 2 certifications, one for you, one for Steve, basically.
Yeah, not even certifications, essentially. Just, again, any type of conferences or, seminars or whatever it might be. I'll be honest with you. Since leaving the school district in 2012, I have not had an opportunity like I had before in working for the district to be able to, take the certification classes. The time isn't there, and of course now the money's not there. So at the end of the day, it's not cheap, as many know, for technology education. It costs money. So
Yeah, that would actually wouldn't cover most certifications, just even the class.
No.
They're about $5,000 to take the class.
yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Plus the cost of the exam
Yeah,
itself.
so I think I'm being
Okay.
again just trying to get a grasp on starting a opportunity here to further educate us and the staff side. So
Yeah, I guess my thought there would be, is that really the right place to go? We've been trying to consolidate training budgets, so more than likely that would be something I'd rather see go underneath Mary Beth's, increase her budget to take into account the needs that you're asking for. But I think it's good that you call it out here. I know it's which column does it come out of, but I think it's easier if it's all centrally managed there, just from an accounting perspective.
The only problem with that is the fact that, then the pie's open to whoever wants to take an opportunity there to take it. And unfortunately, once the well is dry, the well's dry. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
If the $7,000 there and, first 10 people get it, and what's the next 15? They're going to say, nope, sorry, can't do it. So I understand both sides of the, the story. So.
I think there's a conversation that can go on there too, right? It's, I'm assuming that we have similar things where we earmark certain amounts of money. Certainly facilities is faced with a similar problem, right? It's where the cleaning or the electricity and the
Absolutely.
other bills, their budget is based upon expected needs from all the groups, but
we centralized much of the technology budget, again, in 2012. So, we pulled pieces from other budgets to centralize the, purchasing and stuff. So,
Okay. It's worth the conversation, that's all.
Perfect. So the GIS expenses is just, again, the 7.8% is our typical, increase in various services we have under GIS in relation to the GIS services that the various departments use, public works, fire, police, and so on and so forth. Nothing
GIS
extravagant.
stands for?
Geographic Information Systems, mapping.
Yep, just so
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
that don't know
Yeah,
understand.
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Again, happy to answer, any specifics on that, but, I think the larger areas are where I tend to focus our time,
Sure.
on, considering that they're large areas, so.
Okay.
There's no questions on that, then I'll move on to
Nope.
the next. So this category here I created this year to make it easier to sort of understand and see where the costs are in relation to the technology budget, because I know you two folks are new in relation to the overall budget, whereas for the years I've been breaking out this budget to the point where to create that full transparency, if you will, in relation to what we do and how we do it, if you will. And the cloud services perspective started probably, a few years ago, but we're getting more and more, demand on that and transitioning some services internally here to the cloud, sort of create that separate category, if you will. I think it's important for us to highlight the category, because it's sort of, once we venture there, it's hard to sort of venture back, because if we cut that budget, then we lose the services that are coming off of it. So hence, once we had email, and we still have email in-house right now, but the goal is to hopefully by October have everyone in the cloud, and any type of reduction in that area is going to have a cut in some type of service in relation to the cloud. We this year with Opera added a few different pieces of software in relation to the cybersecurity audit that we had that was completed by Cyber Trust, that was funded by Plymouth County, and the services. Like online permitting, for instance, we've been, doing online permitting for a couple of years now, but again, it wasn't highlighted. It was basically just a service that was being provided, so it wasn't sort of categorized as cloud services. We have online permitting for various departments to sort of transition that paper-based stuff to the cloud, and it's worked quite well, I think, for many of the departments. DocuSign, Mary Beth's familiar with that in relation to making the process of paying the warrants a bit easier. And we're hopeful to try and expand upon that and do more with that to sort of eliminate some of this additional paper. The Office 365 email is another cloud service that we have. The network monitoring that we've been doing for a number of years has been internal, and it's now being transitioned to the cloud as a service instead of having the systems in house and worrying about capital expenses and so on and so forth. I think Bridgewater State University, like I had mentioned, the SOC, the Security Operations Center that was created over there. And they had the interns, staffing it and whatnot, and working with the municipalities. They we signed up with them, utilizing 50% from Opera, and then Plymouth County covered the other 50% for this year in relation to transition to what they call a managed detection and response system in relation to malware. To detect and remediate, if you will, in relation to what's going on out there in the world. So, again, another system. So, DTS, the detail tracking system that the police department is using, a new software, cloud-based solution rather, that we had implemented with initially Opera funds. The police department, I believe, is slated to be able to cover that cost with their administrative fees that are coming in for that service. So hopefully we don't have to worry about that additional line item. But FMX Facilities Management Cloud Solution was also added to assist Todd in doing his job and allowing folks to be able to submit maintenance facility requests online. The cyber audit had, again, I think it highlighted a lot of what we already knew. It just basically confirmed the fact that, we should be doing X, Y, Z. So we went ahead and did, again, used Opera funds to implement, certain services. And I'll certainly be more than happy to explain a lot of this if you have questions offline, again, in relation to a recording for public knowledge. I think it's important that we limit what we discuss in relation to security. So, and the multi-factor authentication, we've been doing that for a number of years, and it's now, it's been an insurance requirement now, I want to say since 2023. Again, that area, I think, based on the numbers, 48.5%, it's a big increase. But a lot of that was one-time funds. And I'm not a fan of using one-time funds without having a plan, if you will, in relation to sustaining those costs. And unfortunately, again, I think we're sort of taking advantage of an opportunity to be able to get ourselves started, if you will, and then realizing, what we need to do moving forward in relation to security is an important step.
So Josh, on all those numbers, I'm assuming the 48.5% increase is not entirely ARPA funds. that there's obviously most of the stuff goes up every year anyways. There's some kind of an increase,
Yeah.
right, from everybody. What might be helpful would be for us to know, because I have a feeling that this probably will end up as a warrant article, would be my kind of guess here. But I think that at some point the question is going to be asked, so what if we don't do that? Which of those systems do we shut down now? Because we paid for it out of ARPA for 1 year. We're not going to pay the money again. Just, again, as those conversations come up, it might be a nice piece to have on the side and just say, well, here's where the money exactly went. Do you want to keep doing, as you said, some of those systems,
Yeah.
or not?
Absolutely.
At some point, it's going to be we either pay for the service or we stop doing those services.
Absolutely.
Right?
You got it.
So,
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier because again, you can see what
You can see what you'll do.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Are
Yeah.
there any that, knowing that you hit the cliff effect with opera, are any that you found that you transferred to the cloud that just ultimately didn't work?
No. No, I think it's unfortunately, I've been doing this for 29 years now, and 16 years with the schools, and now 13 years with the town. I make recommendations based on, of course, past experience and best practices, and what we should be doing in relation to the operations of the town. We used to be light years ahead in relation to technology. We built a new high school in 2005. We were the state-of-the-art high school. We did, no one even knew, they had no one was close to doing what we were doing. Today, some of these municipalities are jumping ahead of us, and it's unfortunate. But again, we're all in tight times. We're all in tight budgets, but we just have to realize, what the priorities are, what the needs are, and balance them accordingly.
Yep.
Any questions on cloud aside from that?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm good.
So the hardware maintenance, we had purchased a number of servers during COVID in 2020, and we typically, extend warranties out on equipment as long as we can in relation to, if it makes sense, the infrastructure we have in place, we typically cover it to year 5. So we're beyond that, realizing that, not sure how many of you know, but I've probably applied for and I've been awarded now over $1 million in grants, since 2012. So we try to sort of take a look at all what we have going on and sort of seek and figure out what we can, find to secure funds for what we need to buy versus trying to put it in the budget, if you will. So we're at this point now at that mark where the equipment is no longer going to be under warranty. So we have to now either cover it or we risk having systems that are down and not being able to get the appropriate service that we need to be able to maintain and keep these systems online. And what I mean by systems is that we've consolidated many of the computers in the town hall and various offices, like I think Mike and I was talking about, the eliminating the sort of full-blown desktop computers, going to a thin client. A lot of folks don't need that full computer on their desk. It's just a generalized word processing applications they're doing for the most part. And trying to consolidate the resources and have 3 systems to update instead of 100 computers to update, if you will. Well, doing that obviously adds some complexity to the data center, if you will, and we need now to focus on maintaining and making sure services are available in the data center, because if they're not, it not only affects the systems that are there, but now it drastically affects everyone that was connected to the resources. So again, we try to do what we can with what we have, if you will. The hardware maintenance, again, is definitely an area that is increasing because of that. And the next venture, again, I just applied for a grant to replace our backup solution, $65,000. We'll probably know about that maybe by hopefully May as to whether or not we get that. And that was going to be a capital article this year. Well, again, hopefully that'll be covered by the grant. But we have a couple of real critical things ahead of us. I mean, we've got a public safety record system that needs to be replaced. We've got a financial management system that I know Mary Beth knows that we need to replace. So I mean, that are competing demands, and we are able to get grants every 2 years for the IT side, IT grants, up to $200,000. But again, it's there's just an awful lot of stuff that we have, down the pipeline that we need to be able to focus on, and that's just that's hardware maintenance, if you will. So,
Yeah.
software maintenance did not go up again, 3.4%. Your typical, I think, minimal. Telecommunications stayed the same. Telephone stayed the same. The contracted services still remains at 15,000. And then the copiers. So, yes, a great question. And starting in 2012, when I had transitioned over to the town, I want to say it was the first or second town meeting. We had a couple of folks, get up and ask the question as to why we're buying copiers and not leasing them. And now you just simply ask the opposite question.
Right.
Why are we buying them and not leasing them? And we looked at that initially, and of course the leasing costs are a little bit more expensive than buying them, if you will. But I'm going to start by saying in 2012, when I sort of evaluated all the systems here initially, I discovered copiers here that were in excess of 15 years old. I can't let that happen, because that's where we start to have problems in relation to cybersecurity. We have, again, systems on the network that are end of life, no longer supported. Software is not being updated or hasn't been updated in a number of years, and now they have vulnerabilities that are not being patched because the software is not being updated because the manufacturer end life the copiers. It sounds like a good idea to say, let's just purchase the copiers instead of leasing them. But if they're on a lease model, every 5 years we know they're rolling over, and you're never going to get to that stagnant point of having a 15-year-old copier sitting in the selectman's office. It was the first office that, the copier was yellow. It used to be white, you don't get that same type of experience from the copier in relation to when day one or year three, if you will. So again, not to say that 5 years is too short, but I think 5 years is a good point based on what we're dealing with in relation to the cyber world. We just recently had an issue where we had updated the server side, and the copier, I think Mary Beth can attest to this, would no longer connect to the network to be able to scan. So that copier, again, the firmware was outdated. Luckily, it had a firmware update that was available, that was released 3 years ago, I want to say. So that's sort of where we're at with, making sure that we're refreshing the equipment on a schedule.
The next question would be, how come there's so many that aren't being leased? Like the assessor's offices from 2012.
Yep, you're right. Yep, exactly. So we've got 4 copiers that are on a lease model right now, and we started leasing several years ago. So we can only do so many at a time, and we're trying to get. I'm trying to get on that roll, if you will, and getting a few copiers exactly, so that every 5 years we're going to start rolling through. Now, if we did them all at the same time, it'd be an awful lot of money, So we take it in stride here and do it over a course of time.
So is this it's going up by almost doubling? Are you adding more to this lease, or is this for the 4 that we lease currently, going from 7 to 14,000?
Yeah, so essentially we're basically adding 3 copiers to the existing 7. So you're going to have, a total of 7 copiers that you'll be leasing. And I did give you the full breakdown of the copiers, so you can see them on the back page there. And there are a number of copies that need to be done. And I do have the 3 other copiers, the selectman's office. that needs to be done. The building department, the clerk and collector's office is definitely a busy machine, if you will. And I think the library, talking to the library director, David, he had mentioned to me, if you folks have questions in relation to the operations of the copier over there, please feel free to stop over or give them a call, because, we're getting the, reports of systems issues or whatever, is going on with the copiers, and it just causes frustration and downtime, and it's time to replace them,
And nowadays, a copier is not just a copier.
No,
They're all
absolutely.
connected, just for anybody who might just say, hey, what do you mean? Why do we need to be connected? But to scan and send everything. So it's
Absolutely.
it's just another computer, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even copy. They're multifunction
supported.
devices now,
Yeah,
not copiers, exactly. So scanning.
You might get somebody on town hall floor that, is wondering why. But just wanted to get that out there.
Absolutely. You got it. So that's it, I believe. I don't have any capital articles. Like I said, the one capital article I was planning on putting up there, we applied for the grant, and I'm hopeful that, we'll get that done, and, that'll give us an extra $65,000 that we needed to do that work, so.
Okay. We had a lot of questions there, but anybody have any additional questions for Josh?
Nope, I'm good.
Good.
Okay.
I'll just say, as usual, very thoughtful and very insightful and very...
Yeah, like I said, our office is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. Feel free to stop in, call, and email, or
downstairs,
whatever
no?
you'd like to do. No, my officers are actually up at the police station.
Oh, are they not? Okay.
Yes. There's no office here. Unfortunately, the finance committee took all the available space. So.
Well, if you want to trade,
It's spacious.
deal.
One last question, Josh.
Sure.
So Hanson's looking to hire full-time. Did they get a candidate yet?
Yes.
Do you know?
So they have an executive session, I think, tonight to do, I think, talk about contract negotiations. It's going to be a sad day potentially for us. It's going to be a tough to find to fill that position in relation to the individual that's currently in there. Because when I think Mike had mentioned it before, we're probably getting $150,000, $175,000 person, if you will, in relation to talent for the $95,000 that we're currently paying. So unfortunately. I'm hoping we won't, but again, we probably should know within the next week or so what the story's going to be. But it's been a good experience, I think, for the last 2 years with Steve. It's been phenomenal, and I certainly wish him the best of luck. I don't want to lose him. I think we were hoping that the towns were going to make a different decision and be able to move forward and create a team that was going to be able to support both towns and give a good backbone we have, and fortunately, unless something changes, it's going to be two towns.
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right, thanks.
appreciate your time tonight.
Great.
Again, if there's any questions, feel free to email me. I believe we set your email accounts up, so you do have town email now. Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
And then once we have everybody on that, talk to Josh about setting up a share, because
Yes.
for things like that. So
Yes.
if you haven't, please definitely get set up for that. But it's going to enable the finance committee to be much more efficient in how we work with documents and share documents back and forth
Yep.
Yeah.
securely.
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier doing it that way than it is sending back and forth via email for sure.
Not
Yeah, absolutely.
the securely way. No.
Yep.
Alrighty, Mary Beth.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thanks, Josh.
Just
Thank you, Josh.
email and all the attachments you sent to.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna meet Friday anyways.
Yeah, but
So,
then I can review
Yeah.
them before.
Yep. You're gonna get additional attachments, but
Oh, I bet.
yeah. Yep.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
All
got
right.
it.
Thanks, Josh.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Okay, so that's it, right?
That's it.
Okay, very good. Have a good night.
You too.
You too. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Any other business? We actually touched on all the other stuff that we would normally do. Any other thoughts or questions? Or if not, you know what I'm waiting for.
Motion to do.
There we go.
Second.
Yes. Jason and Mike have given us.
All right, we need to vote on that.
You can stick
We
around.
do,
Oh,
yes. So Kathleen, the motion is on the floor to adjourn for the night.
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Elizabeth? And I will say yes. We're giving her an option tonight. So thank you. That closes our meeting this evening.